Lesson 90. So we are going to do more word problems with two statements of equality. Let's jump in to 90.1. Together, Charles and Nell picked 92 quarts of berries. Okay, so the number that Charles picked plus the number that Nell picked was 92. Okay, if Charles picked 6 more quarts than Nell picked, how many did each of them pick? So Charles picked 6 more than Nell picked. So that means that the number Charles picked equals the number Nell picked plus 6. So can we get back to the number that each picked using this statement? I think we can. I think all we need to do is use some substitution here. And we've already solved for the number Charles picked. We know that it's 6 more than what Nell picked. So we can just sub this whole thing in and say the number that Nell picked plus 6, which is what Charles picked, plus the number that Nell picked equals 92. So if we subtract 6 from both sides and we combine the 2 that we have here, so we have 2 times the number Nell picked equals, I think that's going to be 86. I believe that's right. Then we divide both sides by 2. Then the number that Nell picked is going to be 43. So if we put this number into our original statement and we say that the number Charles picked plus 43, which is the number that Nell picked, equals 92, then we can subtract 43 from both sides, and we come to understand that the number Charles picked is 49. Now we can evaluate this statement here. Is 49 the same as 43 plus 6? Yes, it is. So those two numbers check out. All right, so you see how we did that? We just, as we read our word problem, we created a statement from what we read in the first sentence. Together, that means added. So watch for those key words. Together, both, those things mean adding. Okay, if you can picture something being combined in your head, then it typically means adding. So the number that Charles picked and the number that Nell picked was 92 quarts. But Charles picked 6 more than Nell. So there's our second statement, and that can help us figure out how many by using substitution. All right, so that was a pretty straightforward and easy problem. Let's go on to 90.2. And let's see what it says. All right, in 90.2, it says the number of boys in Sarah's class exceeded the number of girls by 7. So the number of boys in Sarah's class exceeded, that means more than, the number of girls by 7. So there were 7 more girls, I'm sorry, there were 7 more boys than there were girls in Sarah's class. If there were a total of 29 pupils, so there were the number of boys plus the number of girls was 29, how many were boys and how many were girls? Well, we've already solved for the number of boys. We know that there are 7 more boys than there were girls. So we can just take this formula right here and we can sub it in for the number of boys. So we can say the number of girls plus 7, because that's the number of boys, plus the number of girls was 29. We can subtract 7 from both sides, and we can combine these two. So 2 times the number of girls equals 22. We divide both sides by 2. The number of girls was 11. And if we sub that into our problem here, then we know that the number of boys equaled 11 plus 7, which equaled 18. Now, here is where we have to make sure we got the right answer. The number of girls, or the way this is written, the number of boys plus the number of girls should equal 29. 18 plus 11 does equal 29, so we have the correct answer. Okay? If you have any questions about that, if you're not following as I make these statements, then you need to write those questions down and either bring them to class or contact me. All right, we have another one. Let's work through. 90.3. Sorry, my voice is starting to falter. I might need some water. All right, Philip cut a 38-meter rope into 2 pieces. So we have 38 meters, and it was cut into 2 pieces. The long piece was 9 meters longer than the short piece. So we had a short piece and we had a long piece. All right. The long piece was 9 meters longer than the short piece. So the long piece equals the short piece plus 9 meters. The two added together is 38 meters. So we can say that the short piece plus the long piece equals 38 meters, right? But we know the long piece is 9 meters longer than the short piece, so we can sub this in for the long piece. So we can say the short piece plus the short piece plus 9, which is what the long one equals 38. So we can combine these two and subtract 9 from both sides. 2 times short piece equals 29. And if we divide both sides by 2, the short piece is going to equal 14.5 meters, right? So if that equals 14.5 meters, then the long piece is the short piece plus 9. So the long piece is going to equal 14.5 plus 9. So that's going to be 23. The long piece is going to be 23.5. Now the question is, does 23.5 and 14.5 equal 38? Let's add them together. 14.5, I've got my decimals on top of each other. That's 0, carry 1. That is 8. And 2 plus 1 is 3. We have 1 decimal point. Yes, 38 meters. So those two check. All right. As we talk through these, I hope y'all are understanding how I'm putting them together and you're getting a grasp of the practical application of understanding these word problems. All right, so now we have another one, 90.4. We're just getting lots of practice in today. The sum of two numbers is 72. So we have x plus y equals 72. Okay? The difference of the numbers is 26. What are the numbers? So instead of using x and y, let's say we have a large number and a small number, and they equal 72. The large number minus the small number equals 26. So large minus small equals 26. From here, we can solve for the large number. We can say the large number, we're going to add a small number to both sides. The large number equals 26 plus the small number. Okay? Now we can sub in this for this. And we can say 26 plus s for the large number plus s equals 72. We can combine both of these to 2s, and we'll subtract 26 from both sides. And that is going to give us oh goodness, I can't do math today. My head is 46. My head is broken. So we divide both sides by 2, and the small number is 23. Okay, so now we can just sub the small number in for this problem up here. The large number plus the small number, which is 23, equals 72. So we subtract 23 from both sides, and the large number equals 49. So does this check with our other problem? The large number, 49, minus the small number, 23. Does it equal 26? 9 minus 3 is 6, and 4 minus 2 is 2. Yes, it checks out. So small number and large number are correct. Very good. All right, let's do another one. We're just walking through these. 90.5. The greater of two numbers, there's a large number and a small number, is 16 greater than the smaller. So the large number equals the small number plus 16 more. Okay? The greater of two numbers, a large number and a small number, is 16 greater or 16 more than the small number. So the big number equals small plus 16. When added together, okay, when added together, so it's L plus S equals, their sum is 4 less, so it's minus 4, then 3 times the smaller. So 4 less than 3 times the smaller, so 3s. You could rewrite that and say 3 times s minus 4. Okay, it's 4 less than 3 times the smaller number. So now we have a reference point that we can solve for. We know that L equals S plus 16. So we can sub this in for L in this equation. So we're going to use substitution. And we're going to say S plus 16 plus S, because that's what L equals 3S minus 4. So we're going to subtract 16 from both sides. We're going to combine these two. That's going to be 2s. And we're going to subtract 3s from both sides. So we had 2s minus 3s is a negative 1s, and that's going to be a negative 20. We divide both sides by negative 1, s equals 20. So the smaller number is 20, so that means the larger number is 36. So we can check our answer by saying that the larger number plus the smaller number, so that's 20 plus 36 equals 3 times 20, because that's the smaller number, minus 4. So we have 56 equals 60 minus 4, which equals 56. So those are correct. The small number is 20 and the large number is 36, and those are correct. Okay? Let's see, do we have another one? I feel like getting the hang of these. We have one more and then we're done with less than 90. So 90.6. And we are told that the ratio, so we're dealing with a fraction, the ratio of two numbers is 5 to 4. And the sum of the numbers is 63. What are the numbers? So if the ratio of the numbers is 5 to 4, and the sum of the numbers is 63, then we know that we can say the first number plus the second number is 63, right? So that's one sentence. That's our total value statement right there. Now we have to deal with the ratio. The ratio of number 1 is 5, and the ratio of number 2 is 4, because they always say it in the order. The ratio of two numbers is 5 to 4, so the first number and the second number, that's 5 to 4 is what that equals. So we can turn that into a cross multiplication. We'll just do some cross multiplication. So 4 times the first number is equal to 5 times the second number. Okay? So now we can sub those in for one another. Right? So how do we do that? Who knows? Okay, I'm going to pretend somebody had the right answer. Yes, we use substitution. So what we're going to do is subtract n2 from both sides. And that leaves us with the statement n1 equals 63 minus n2. Okay? Awesome. So now we can sub n1 in here. We can say 4 times 63 minus n2 equals 5 times n2. And then we'll distribute, and 4 times 63 is going to be 252. So 252 minus 4 n2 equals 5 n2, and I'm just going to add 4 n2 to both sides to make it easier. So 252 equals 9 n2, right? So we divide 252 by 9, and we get 28 is n2. So now we just sub n2 into our original value problem. n1 plus 28 equals 63. And then we're just going to subtract 28 from 63. So we know n1 equals 35. Now we have n1 and we have 35. And we know that those are correct. And if you look at those numbers, you can see that 4 times 7 is 28, and 5 times 7 is 35. Okay, so that's the ratio of 4 to 5. All right, so I hope that you've understood the process and that it's kind of clicked for you in how to write these number value word problems and how to compare the two statements of equality that you get so that you can either use substitution or elimination. I know I tend to use a little bit more substitution just because to me it seems faster. Use whichever one you like. That's all I have for lesson 90. I will see you in lesson 91.